Hey now guys, it's Knockout21. How are y'all doing today? In this video, we're going to be looking at East Book 1 and 2 on a Grafx CD. Now, I have a little bit of a history with this game. You see, back in the day, I was really young, 7, 8 years old. I don't exactly know when, but way back when, my brother somehow got a hold of this promotional PC Engine VHS cassette. I don't know where he picked it up from. I don't know how he got a hold of it, but he got it from somewhere. And when he brought it home, it was basically a bunch of clips and footage of a lot of different PC Engine games. And some of them look cool, some look kind of weird. But the one that caught my attention the most was definitely East. I called it Wise because that's what it showed on the screen, but it was East. And the gameplay didn't really caught my attention too much because, you know, I've seen games like Legends of Zelda, Govilius, Newtopia, and I thought it was like more of the same. But what really blew me away and caught me off guard was the CG cutscenes. I gotta tell you, these scenes were like animated, and they had voice acting. I thought for sure I was watching a cartoon. I was like, oh my god, this game went from a video game to a cartoon, and they're actually talking. And you know, it was like PC Engine CD something something in Japanese. I was like, oh wow, that's what CD Engine, that's what a CD does. And for sure I thought and it came true either way, but for sure I thought that this was the way that video game narration was gonna go. It was gonna be people talking and animated cutscenes and all this stuff. Granted, it took a little while longer because, you know, with the Sega CD, you know, there was all FMV cutscenes and all that stuff that didn't look quite pleasing in the long run. But eventually, with the advent of the Saturn and the PlayStation, the industry went that way. But East was the first, one of the first, I should say. I don't know who actually did it first, but East was one of the first to push that narrative forward, that type of narrative forward. And I gotta say, it did a really good job. Anyway, let's go on with the review. Okay, so playing East takes some getting used to. Originally, this was an 8-bit action RPG meant for PCs, PC88 in particular, but PCs all the same. And the idea was to make it simple. That's why things like attacking and talking to NPCs is usually done just by running up to them. With NPCs, of course, you get information regarding the world and they give you clues on what to do next. As for actions, you just kind of pretty much run at them. And it seems a little weird, I'll admit, mainly because we're all used to pushing a button to attack. But in this, you gotta ram them with your shoulder, and that's how you get the job done. And you're gonna find yourself doing that a lot because this game does get kind of grindy, I'm not gonna lie. There are points where you are particularly underpowered, especially when you get up to boss fights and you try to attack them with little to no damage. Yeah, it might be a common occurrence from time to time if you're not prepared. Luckily, these moments of grinding it out isn't too bad. You could usually level up to the appropriate level in about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your location. So it doesn't take away too much from the game. Like any regular action JRPG, items and weapons are obtained by either buying them or finding them in dungeons. So it's absolutely necessary to look through every nook and cranny. Though the idea of Ys was to make it simple, you won't be having a hard time finding anything. It'll be kind of difficult to actually miss something. Though if I have one criticism, it would be the lack of utility on some of these items. Like for example, right now I got some stone shoes that let me walk up and down these slopes in the ice park. However, this is the only place in the entire game you're ever going to use them. It's basically meant to help you go to the next part of the game. But that's it. It served its purpose and it's no longer useful. I feel like something was lost here. They could have probably done something where you could backtrack with these shoes and go to a spot that was inaccessible before. But it is what it is, and I feel it's a missed opportunity of actually expanding the game a little more. Visuals leave a little something to be desired. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit disappointed at how this game looks, especially since all the action takes place within the border. It's a bit distracting, and I don't get why they couldn't just use the entire screen. There are other versions of this game that use the entire screen, but here on the triple CD, everything's regulated to that one border, to like 2/3 of the screen. The other third is taken up by stats, which I guess might be a necessity. My guess is that Hudson Soft wanted to make this look more closer to the PC 888 original, but this is a console game. They could have redrawn the sprites to be bigger, they could have added more detail in the background and elements, but they didn't do that. So that's why I'm a bit disappointed with the visuals. Granted though, the game is still vibrant and colorful, and the CG cutscenes are amazing, well drawn, well animated. So with that, I don't know, it looks good for what it is. Sound effects are your standard 8-bit sounds. This is the PC Engine / TurboGrafx, so it is a step above the NES, but not quite at the same level as the Sega Genesis. But where this game really shines though, would be the music. The soundtrack was composed by the legendary Yuzo Koshiro. Yes, that Yuzo Koshiro, the same guy that did the music for Streets of Rage, Revenge of Shinobi, and a bunch of others. He did the music here, and I gotta say, this is one of the best JRPG soundtracks that I've ever heard. The rockin' tunes he uses keep in pace with the action on screen. The Holders of Power music, which is actually the boss fight music, sounds really epic, making the boss fights that much more intense. I gotta say, bar none, this is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Now since this uses Redbook audio, you could actually pop the disc into a CD player and hear the soundtrack back. So don't be surprised if you catch yourself doing this from time to time. Voice acting is extremely good. Too good perhaps. NEC must have broken the bank because they hired high-end talent for this. You'll find the likes of Jim Cummings, Alan Oppenheimer, Debbie Derryberry among the cast, and these guys, they were like in a lot of stuff back in the day. and some of them are still active to this day. Jim Cummings was Dr. Robotnik and Darkwing Duck. Alan Oppenheimer, I think he was in a couple of Tiny Toon episodes. And same thing goes for Debbie Berry. The performances they give add a lot of character to their roles, and it enhances the narrative overall. My only criticism that I have about the voice acting is that there aren't more spoken dialogues and there are not more spoken lines. But for what's here, I really appreciate it, and it just makes the game that much more special.
I know you are searching for the secrets contained within the books, and you have done well so far. I am impressed by your daring ambition, but of course you are still defenseless against my superior powers. The name Dark Fact will be the scourge of all men to come. Oh, you are brave, but you are also a fool. You have no chance without the protection of the silver equipment. Knave, prepare to die!
Controls are a bit stiff, I'm not gonna lie. This game was designed with the PC in mind, and the idea was to simplify movement. So basically, you're regulated to only moving up, down, left, and right. No jumping, no running diagonally. So yeah, this could get frustrating at times, especially since the layout of some locations or some dungeons don't really vibe well with the controls. But it doesn't break the game or anything like that. It's like I said before, it will take some time to get used to, especially if you've played any of the recent Ys remakes. Now the presentation is a big step above of what was available at the time. NEC really wanted to show off what the CD medium could do, and they did an excellent job, especially with the cutscenes, how things are portrayed, how one game seamlessly goes to the other, the layout of the menus. It's all well and good. Granted, they kind of stuck close to how it looked on a PC-88, but for what it's worth, they did an excellent job in this aspect. And there you have it, guys. Ys Book 1 and 2 for the Turbo CD. I gotta give this game a B. Graphics could use a little bit of an improvement in my opinion, but everything else, excellent. You know, the music, the voice acting, the presentation, the cutscenes, all of that, hits it out of the park. Great stuff. I truly enjoyed playing this game. However, getting a hold of Ys on the Turbo CD is kind of pricey. This thing is starting to fetch close to $100, and well, finding a working Turbo CD unit is also kind of expensive. You could try to get either a PC Engine Duo or a Turbo Duo, or I forgot the PC Engine Duo R, and yeah, you could also get those, but those aren't exactly cheap either. However, if you just want to experience the game, there is a version on the PSP called Ys Chronicles Book 1 and 2, and the actual same version is also available on Steam for much, much cheaper prices. So yeah, if you want to experience the story, go ahead, get on those. I play those versions. I definitely recommend it. The only downside is that those versions, Ys Chronicles Book 1 and 2, lack some voice acting. So if you don't mind that too much, yeah, go for it. Anyway, this was Knockout 21. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. And like always, have a good one. Take care, guys.